And we are live. Dawn here, and I am obviously lacking Dylan of the Dawn and Dylan of Romance Happy Hour, and that is fine. She is out with an old buddy of hers from college. So I'm very excited that she got to spend some time with an old friend of hers. And hopefully I was supposed to say that because ladies, I got to tell you right now, I have a tendency to spill Dylan's secrets. And so that's like an ongoing battle between us as I accidentally always spill her secrets. But welcome to the show. I am joined here by Engrid Eaves and Indy Sparks. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Why don't we start well, I'll tell them a little bit. I'm not really working on anything right now. I just got my computer yesterday. So I will be working on my historical soon, but let's hear from you guys. So, Ingrid, I'm going to have you go first. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you write, and anything you really want our viewers or listeners to know about you?
Oh boy, this is kind of a weighted question. All right. Well, I live in northern Nevada. I live just outside of Virginia City, Nevada, which was famous because of Bonanza and Mark Twain. So that's kind of an interesting experience. It's a town of 2,000 people. And I write mountain man and cowboy romance, and oftentimes cowboy mountain man romance, because around here, cowboys live in the mountains. So it makes sense because I'm right by the Sierra Nevada mountains.
Yeah.
I've been writing since January of 2024, and I'm also a classical musician. I play the upright bass. So that's why my first book features a cellist. The bass would have been a little bit too big for the storyline, but it was close. So
Nice. So, Virginia City, do you have any books that are taking place in Virginia City?
I don't yet. I have plans. I have plans for a whole cowboy series that's in Virginia City. But right now I'm finishing up my Rough and Ready series, which Rough and Ready, California is actually a real place. And it's a place I used to visit with my grandpa all the time, who was a real life cowboy and kind of inspired the foster dad behind this group of foster boys who have grown up in that area. So
Awesome.
But I do have a Nevada book. Roughing It with the Rancher came out recently. It's a made-up town in Nevada, Foxfire Valley, but I think of it as just a little north of Reno and Virginia City.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. So the ongoing joke here, and if Dylan was here, she'd joke about this because I think this is the first Nevada incident of this, because my husband, being military, I've lived everywhere or been everywhere. And I actually have lived in Nevada. I grew up there till I was 12, and you and I were just talking about this. So do you guys have a lot of Mormon crickets down there? Because I know that was
not where I'm at specifically, but traveling through the eastern portion of the state, especially out by Elko and such, just imagine so many that your car would skid.
Yeah.
If you put the brakes on too quickly. It's absolutely the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it was great because I grew up with that, like you could see it, you could hear them crunching under your tires as you're going, and like the roads were red. And we went down to visit my grandpa in Elko like 2 years ago, and I tried to warn my children about it. And then we got down there, and my daughter was like, I mean, she was so scared, and she's a teenager. Like, she was like 16, and she was like trying to climb up me, and she's like taller than me. And then she was like trying to take shelter on one of those car barriers. And I was like, dear, they're crickets.
They're horrific though, until you see them, you don't know how you're going to react.
Yeah, they're interesting. It's quite interesting. So awesome. All right. So Indy, how about you? Tell us a little bit about you, and then, anything you want us to know.
Still processing these crickets.
I know. Horrible.
That is wild. I'm Indy Sparks. I live just outside Austin, Texas, and I write steamy rom-coms.
Oh.
Currently, I'm wrapping up a novella series, the Rocky Start romance novellas, and tonight I'm going to be reading from book 1 of that. Book 4, which is the final book, releases in September, and that one is going to spin off a small town series.
Awesome.
Set in Texas, a fictional small town. Everything I've written so far has been set in Texas. I'm native Texan, grew up near the coast, so.
Okay, don't hate me, but I've also lived in Texas too. See what I mean? We were stationed in Galveston, so we're near the coast.
Yeah, I was right by Galveston. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we were. Yeah. Well, he was stationed in Galveston. We lived in Dickinson, so we were there for Hurricane Harvey, and
yeah.
My husband was Coast Guard, so he was out to sea during the hurricane, and me and the kids evacuated to Dallas. And when we saw our neighborhood and my kids' playground on the Weather Channel, I was like,
that's
okay.
So sad. Yeah, I don't miss the hurricanes. We've been gone from that area since '99, but still, I mean, we watch all the hurricane reports, and you just grow up with it, so you still watch it all.
I mean, it's the same. Like now I'm in Montana, right? And so people talk about that. It's the same as like forest fires here, like blizzards, right? Every place has their natural disaster, and they get used to it, and they're just like, oh, it's a hurricane. We deal with it when it happens, and
we lived in Southern California for a year, and everybody I worked with was like, wow, I can't believe you live somewhere where they had hurricanes. And I'm like, you live somewhere where you have earthquakes. Like we get warnings. You don't get a warning for an earthquake.
Yeah, what scares me is the tornado places. I mean, tornadoes, I think, are probably some of the scariest natural disasters ever, because they happen quick, and like I don't know. We watched. I made my kids watch Twister for the first time the other day, and now they're scared of tornadoes too.
Yeah, we watched it the other day, and then the second one too. So
I haven't seen this back.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good.
Right? Awesome. Yeah, I'm always a little bit scared about sequels, especially like back in the 90s and 2000s, because sequels were never as good as the original. But now I think they're doing better, more creativity, I guess.
Well, it's hard too, because you get burnt out and you feel like everything is a sequel. Like, why are there nothing original? But sometimes they get it right. I thought Twisters was pretty good.
Yeah. I feel like it's different with books though. Like when you get like the second book in a series, it's usually, anyways, if it's a good author, just as good, if not better than the original. But I wonder what the difference between.
Well, especially in books too, I think, because you're sometimes returning to the same setting, the same town, or it might be the exact same characters. So there's like that familiarity. Whereas sometimes Twister had some of the themes were the same, but they're totally different characters. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. And then if they replace one of the main characters with a different actress, and you're just like, no, that didn't work. Like, stop doing that. Okay. Awesome.
Like in a TV series where like all of a sudden it comes back next season and somebody's different.
Yeah. And you're like, I noticed that. Like, don't think we're not going to know. We're not dumb.
Right.
I grew up with, my mom would always watch soap operas, and they would sometimes do that, like Days of Our Lives, or, one of those where all of it, Young and the Restless, suddenly it's a character. You've been watching this show for like 10 years, and one day it's a brand new person playing the same role. The role of blah, blah, blah will be played by. It's like, I can't wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
Susan Lucci on All My Children. Wasn't she on there for like 30 years or something? She was always the same character.
Oh, yeah. They went forever.
Yeah. Like that was her career.
Yeah. I feel like, especially with a soap opera, if they're going to replace that character, they just need to kill him off. Like Joey Tribbiani's style, like when he got killed, off of his doctor show.
Does anybody die on a soap opera? Because I feel like they always bring
come back.
Like, they come back.
Like, cook in a vat of acid, and then somehow they come back looking better than ever.
Or they come back as the unknown twin that nobody knew they had.
Yeah, yes. Like Joey Tribbiani.
Yeah.
His character. Who was it? what was his name? What was his
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, it started with an R. That's all I know. Like Romano or something. I don't know. But yes, so we are here to talk about you guys and your books. So let's go with Engrid. Engrid, why don't you tell us? We'll set you both up, have you both talk about your books a little bit, and then we'll just get back up there and have you read. And Indy, I think you're going first, so we'll have Engrid talk about her book first, then we'll get right back into you. So Engrid.
So talking about our books in general, or the book I'll be reading today?
Both, really both. Like, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a primary series, Rough and Ready Country. It will have 15 books in it. I'm almost done with it. They are novella length. I'm working on the 13th book right now. So that's my current work in progress. But that is all about cowboy mountain men. They're all foster boys. They all were raised together with the same foster dad who was a cowboy. And so they ended up on this ranch together being rehabilitated. I chose foster boys who were the worst of the worst possible. And it sounds horrible when I say it that way, but I used to be a psychosocial rehab worker, and I worked with foster kids that had criminal tendencies, emotional issues, lots of abuse from the past, things like that. So these were the children that kind of had been left behind by everybody. In some cases, they were physically violent, things along those lines. Never to me. And I loved working with them. I still think about them all the time. But that's what was the impetus for this series, is just thinking about what had happened to them. You know, I've been contacted by some of them later on, and to find out how they're doing. And just thinking about starting out from, none of us really are in control of where we start out. But seeing how they overcame this, how with the kindness and help of one man, they were able to rise above tremendous difficulties. And I would say the theme throughout my books, and this is also the collaborations I'm in, is redemption through love. And so I like to, like the book I'll read today is called Curves for the Mountain Man. It's part of the Whispered Echoes series that came out in April. And with this one, I really wanted to play around with two characters who are at their absolute lowest point. So, I mean, we're talking about two characters that, I don't know if you want me to explain it now or explain it a little bit more before I read. It might be better before I read. But so they're at equally low points. And so basically the only way they're going to survive this situation is by pulling together and helping each other. And they surrender to love in the process of that. So I love playing with also man versus nature, especially with my mountain man romances, and heroes that in many cases have secluded or isolated themselves from the whole world, trying to understand why this happened, what's going on, how they can heal, how they can also heal the heroine, and vice versa. And so those are the themes that you get with my books. I also love fast-paced action, page turning. If you look at what my readers have to say, a lot of the books that it's like, I read this in one sitting. And part of that is a reflection of the page length. My books tend to be 100 to 150 pages long, maximum. And I really want to give you this concentrated sense of, in a short book, just everything happening all at the same time. So I love that. One of my favorite movies of all time is Last of the Mohicans. So if you've ever seen that and seen what happened, especially with Alice and Uncas, which I'm still not over, I may never be over it, but that's kind of where I come from, is that intense, simmering, smoldering, slow burn love that's happening with everything falling apart around them. So you find that's more in my action mountain man books.
Nice. Awesome. And what about you, Indy?
I love hearing all the novella love, because I love writing novellas. I didn't know that I would, and then I did an interconnected series of them and just fell in love with the format. I always loved reading them, but so what I'm reading from tonight is going to be Missed Exit, which is book 1 of my Rocky Start romance novella series. These are not interconnected. They're standalone novellas. The theme is the Rocky Start. they all get off to the absolute worst start possible, which has been so much fun. I like writing that. Characters like just not necessarily at their lowest, or maybe they are, but just like at their most angry at the whole world. They're just like, don't want anybody, get away from me. I mean, because that's when it happens, right? So that's fun. I do have a standalone that is my only second chance romance. Oh, that's not true. I do have a second chance and a duology, but it's a small town second chance. And it is basically my ode to the movie Sweet Home Alabama. So that one was fun to write, but mostly I'm doing duologies or series now because it's fun to come back to the same people, or the same settings.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, why don't we put you up there? Andy's going to read from us first. I'm going to put you up there. And I think this is the one thing I forgot to tell you guys. When we were doing briefing earlier, I'm going to put you up there, and the rest of us are going to be off screen and muted. So just to let you know.
Okay.
All right. And you are up there.
Okay. I watch as a bigger vehicle breaks away from the pack behind me. It's coming up fast, so I move into the right lane. My exit shouldn't be too far ahead anyway. Oh, not this jerk again. This wannabe cowboy in his big black pickup truck. I thought he turned off miles ago, right after I let my middle finger do the talking. Shoot, I'm not sure I want this guy to catch up to me. Maybe he changed his mind about letting me get the last word, or in our case, the final gesture. He could be crazy. He could be dangerous. I floor it, but my car struggles with the command. The acceleration has been crap since about an hour this side of Austin, but she's basically running fine once she's up to speed. Just takes her a little while to get up and go, that's all. Why isn't she getting up and going right now? Is she slowing down? She's dying? No, 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 no. Not when I have a raging psychopath on my tail. Finally, my engine gets the message, and the RPMs start to climb. Yes. Not today, you revenge-seeking redneck. I honk my horn as I blow past him. He immediately moves over into the right lane behind me. Is he going to follow me now? Uh-oh. Maybe I honked too soon. No, I'm safe. He just moved over to exit again. Can't make up his mind where he's going, apparently. Or maybe he didn't want to chance it. For all he knows, I could be the crazy one. I could be dangerous. Chicken! I yell as I watch him in my passenger side mirror, cruising away from the interstate. What's the matter? Afraid of little old me in my little red car? Not so big and bad after all, are you? I laugh as he fades out of sight. Good times. Even during the darkest of days, there's always something to laugh about. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of BS I used to say to my middle schoolers. But sometimes there's a little truth buried in the BS. And if I can laugh on my way to a rented duplex in the butt crack of West Texas with a broken engagement, no job to go back to when school starts, and my dignity in the gutter, well, sometimes all you can do is laugh. Even when you realize every important choice you've ever made has been total BS. But I'm done with that life. It's firmly in my rearview mirror, and I'm forging ahead. No! The exit for Agate Ridge is literally in my rearview mirror right now. There's nothing ahead but wide open road for miles and miles. I'm supposed to meet the moving truck in an hour. That jerk took my exit. It's fine. Everything's fine. There's no need to catastrophize the situation. I'll just take the next exit and circle back around. This is simply a minor delay, not a major complication. I've got this. New, uncomplicated life, here I come. Now we're switching to the male POV. When I started this beer, I decided if my new neighbor ended up being a no-show, I'd take the TV. And then I'd call the landlord to let him know his new tenant left all their crap on the driveway, but they don't appear to be moving in. As I sit here rocking in my porch swing and finishing off my second beer, I've already faced the fact that I'm not going to take anything those mad movers left behind. I do need a new TV. And that's a nice one sitting on the other half of the driveway next to my truck, but I'm no thief. I might be a lot of things, but I'm not a thief. Plenty of people steal in all sorts of ways and do just fine. Some become millionaires, billionaires even, but I'm not made that way, never have been. And what's it gotten me? A rented duplex and a TV with a blurry stripe running through the middle of the screen. Most movies are still watchable. Makes a ball game hard to follow, though. Where the heck is this person who failed to meet their movers? I hope they're okay. My curiosity gets the better of me, so I walk over to take a closer look at their things. Even through multiple layers of bubble wrap, I can tell that's got to be an 85-inch screen. Did he not take any measurements of this place? That TV is going to cover an entire wall. He'll have to watch it from the kitchen. Couch is awfully small. Doesn't go with the TV. Weird. You'd think a guy who cared so much about the size of his TV would at least have a nice leather recliner. I'm glad to see his headboard is solid wood. He even has a footboard. That's a sturdy-looking bed. Hopefully that means I won't have to hear it banging against our shared wall. The last guy who lived here was okay as far as neighbors go, but the thumping rhythm of his revolving door love life was a constant reminder that mine paled in comparison. Not that I'm making much of an effort in that area these days, but I don't need a nightly confirmation. In his defense, he did move the bed away from the wall after I offered to come over and add a few screws to shore up his headboard. He got a good laugh out of the offer, and an ego boost, I'm sure. At least I could get a full night's sleep for the last few months he was here. I hope this new neighbor doesn't make me miss that guy. I've seen enough. He'll either show up or he won't. I push my front door open, but before I can step inside, tires roll to a stop at the curb. When I turn to see who's pulled up, I don't recognize the car, and this has got to be my new neighbor. I've already stood here staring, so it would be rude not to wait a bit longer and introduce myself. A passenger emerges from the back seat. As soon as she stands up, our eyes lock. Oh, come on. What are the freaking odds? This whole life must be my penance for all the bad stuff I did in a past life. Her head swivels repeatedly, looking at all her belongings exposed for the whole world to inspect. But it comes to a full stop when she recognizes my truck. The shock in her expression is almost comical. "Where's your little red race car?" I call out. "It died." She paces along the driveway as her ride pulls away. "They just unloaded all my stuff and left it here?" They waited about 30 minutes before they gave up on you." "Did you get lost?" "No, I did not get lost. You made me miss my exit. And then my car died, so I had to wait on a tow truck. And then I had to wait on a ride. Do you know how long it takes to get an Uber out here?" "No idea." "I also have no idea how you figure I made you miss your exit." I walk to the edge of my porch because I don't think I'm going inside anytime soon. "I took that exit easily enough. What kept you from taking it?" "You." Yeah, repeating that isn't going to make it true. "I had nothing to do with you missing the exit." "Yes, you did, you road raging psychopath." "Road rage? What road rage?" "You tried to intimidate me for miles, and then you came speeding back up on my bumper out of nowhere, practically pushing me out of my lane." "Do you have a head injury or some other condition that affects your memory? Because I'm about to say some things to you that I would genuinely feel bad for saying to someone with an actual disability. Say whatever you want. I don't care what you think about me anyway." Look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume we both had a bad day. Let's start over. I run my fingers through my hair and hope I don't regret not walking into my own place and closing the door on her. "Howdy, neighbor. Want some help carrying all your crap inside?" "Seems like the least you could do at this point." I inhale for 10, exhale the entire breath on 1. "Listen, I did not make you miss the exit. I also did not make your movers leave. I am offering to help you because I'm a nice guy, not because I owe it to you. I don't owe you anything." "Fine." She bends down to pick up the footboard to her bed. There's no way she can lift that alone. I set my beer bottle on the porch railing and walk toward her. "Hold on, I'll help you with..." Before I can reach her, she lifts one end of it and starts dragging it across the concrete. "Stop! That's nice wood. You're going to ruin it. Let me help, please." "I flipped you off on the freeway." "Yes, and I'll cherish the memory always." "Because you cut me off." "I do not remember that part." "Well, you did." "I'll take your word for it." And? And what? How about an apology?" "Oh, I guess I thought the part where you flipped me off negated the need for that." She stares at me, standing her ground with her end of the footboard still raised. I remind myself that I'm the one who initiated this interaction, so I try again. "You want to tell me your name?" Greta Gaines." "I am very sorry if I cut you off in traffic, Greta Gaines." I lift the other end of the footboard. "That'd be a great stage name, by the way. Sorry, hazard of the industry." I take a step forward as she unceremoniously drops her end of the footboard, causing me to stumble into my end. "What the heck? Why did you do that?" "Did you just insinuate that I am a stripper?" "Not in English." "You said I had a great stage name." "That's not the kind of stage I meant. It's a great name for a singer." "Are you a singer by any chance?" "No." "Well, Then congratulations. You've got a good for nothing name as far as I can tell. You want to help me move this inside now? Are you going to tell me your name? Law. Law Davis. Law? Short for Lawson. Pretty much only my mama calls me that. Your mama, huh? You're obviously a Texas boy. And with that twang in your voice, you're obviously a Texas girl. After we move all your stuff, we can compare family trees. But if you wouldn't mind, I do not have a twang. You've got a little twang. And for the record, Greta Gaines would be a terrible stripper name. Are you insulting me? Oh, now it's an insult if you don't have a stripper name? I'm only insulted because you think you can make assumptions about me. You don't know me. There's nothing wrong with being a stripper, by the way. Sex workers deserve the same respect as anyone else. But thanks to men, maybe we should do a little more moving and a whole lot less talking. We'll stop there. Obviously, they're off to a great start.
I absolutely love it. Honestly, I was like scoffing like out loud. Luckily, nobody's in my room watching me when she's like, I flipped you off. Like, just so you know, I flipped you off.
Let me make sure you did see that, right?
I love it. I love it so much.
It's so much fun to write.
Yeah, and you're good at it. I mean, you got a couple comments down there. The other thing I did forget to tell you is like later on, if we don't get to all the comments, feel free to go back, go through them and like comment to anybody else you want. But yeah, I mean, like Lisa here said, this is hilarious, Cindy. You're a new author to me. But she just formed you on KU and she can't wait to read the whole book. So
Thank
great.
you.
I love it. Viewers, listeners, viewers, post your questions in the comments if you have any. I have a whole list here, so if not, that's okay, but I would like to see yours. So I put that little thing down there, so go ahead and post it there. But I do have a couple questions. So how did you decide to read in your genre?
How did I decide to read in my genre?
Or right.
Oh, right. I was like, wait a minute.
Right, and read me. I'm like, yeah.
Well, that's funny because I've always loved to read rom-coms. They're the movies I gravitate toward, everything. But they're not what I started out writing. I thought I was going to write more serious romance. I don't know why. And then I started playing around with one. I think it just kind of morphed into that naturally. And I was like, oh, why the heck did it take me so long to get here? Like, I really should have known. This should have been more obvious, but.
Yeah. That's fun. So you discovered your genre.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Elimination. And so what do you read then? What do you read in mostly?
I like to read in rom-coms. Yeah, that's what I read mostly. So that's what I said, like, why didn't I think that would be a natural fit for me to write? If I'm not reading romance, it's probably funny women's fiction. So, I mean, that's what I first gravitate toward, but it wasn't what I gravitated towards trying to write. So
that's awesome, though. I'm glad you found.
Thank goodness I came to my senses.
Found your
voice. A lot more fun now.
Yeah. What about you, Ingrid?
Well, I used to be a literature professor at college, at a local college. So way back when I was reading the classics, I mean, we're talking Greek tragedies, the whole thing. I have a master's in French literature, so I mostly read Voltaire and Montesquieu and stuff like that, to be honest. But I've always wanted to write romance, always. Like, I mean, when I was 12 years old, I was writing books, obviously not steamy, but carrying around a notebook and writing hundreds of little messy pages of ridiculousness that never needs to see the light of day. But so I always wanted to write romance. I just didn't think I would be good at it, to be honest. But then I got turned on to Mia Brody, Hope Ford, some of the novella authors. And at the time I was working on a much longer series that I still want to revisit. But I felt like I needed more story craft, because it's one thing from the point of view of a professor to look at a story and pick it apart. It's completely different trying to write it, completely different. And I have to say that writing novellas has been amazing. I have learned so much. The learning curve on doing so many little novellas versus one big book has just been tremendous and incredible. And so I still do write I read in my genre, contemporary small town romance. Even though before I started this romance writing journey a couple of years ago, I was reading Jane Eyre and in Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen, but I'd always had a thing for Jack London and Gary Paulson and some of like horror writers, Robert Louis Stevenson, adventure. And so I wanted to find a way to meld all that together. I'm also very outdoorsy where I live and, hiking and camping and all of that stuff. My husband's a hunter and fisherman, and he's kind of like a tame version of a mountain man, basically. So that kind of all played into it.
Ingrid, I was just going to say, we're like now best friends, just so you know.
We're both from Nevada, so that's, you say it right, first of all. Like,
it is. Yeah, it's not Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
Like,
no,
just chills when I hear it.
you just gotta do it like the Nevada. You gotta get it from the back of your throat.
That's right.
Nevada.
Yeah, I'm from Nevada.
and honestly, Jane Austen, like I read her all the time. And then
she's amazing. Witty banter. Oh my gosh.
But then I gotta throw in there Louis L'Amour. I also read Louis L'Amour.
Oh.
I have not read him. I need to do that. He has a Nevada book too, Comstock Lode.
Yeah, he's got. I'm trying to get my 11-year-old because he's, he needs to read more, and so I was like, try this one. I know it's maybe a little big, a little bit older than you're reading, but try it. So I keep trying to get my boys to read some Louis L'Amour. I love. If I'm just feeling not romancy, I'll just throw him in there. But yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I love it. So let me ask you, what are your favorite tropes then? So we've got your genres that you like to write in. What are your favorite tropes to read, and what are your favorite tropes to write in? And let's go Indy. Yeah. Let's start with Indy.
Okay. Just in my very first Brother's Best Friend. And that was so much fun to write. So I might be a big Brother's Best Friend fan now. I haven't read too many of them, but I would like to now. That was fun. I like Enemies to Lovers. That's always fun. Forced Proximity, Only One Bed. Mm-hmm. Those are some of my favorites.
And what about you, Ingrid?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this earlier with Forced Proximity. I don't even know if we can call it a trope anymore because you just can't have a romance without it. They have to be together, And so obviously love Forced Proximity, love One Bed. Although even more than that, I like multiple beds, but they still decide to share. That's one of my new favorites. But then, some of my friends that write paranormal are like, what is your deal? Because lately I've been gravitating towards He'll Burn Down the World for Her, Touch Her and Die, more of the intense stuff, which does lend itself well to a mountain man who's a little unhinged.
Right. Yeah.
I also like Just Once or Just One Time and Can't Stay Away. Those are Chef's Kiss.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I'm a big alpha male person myself. I write the best in alpha males, and I love reading a good alpha male. And yes, sometimes they have their flaws. Like you're kind of a jerk, but I love you anyways. Kind of.
I love it when they're like an alpha, but there's like this oozy, warm, melty center that you can eventually get to. Like they're only that way with their woman. And I wouldn't necessarily call it a cinnamon roll, but just like, for my own books, I call it alpha emotional.
Yeah, I love that.
Alpha emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or the alpha roll.
The alpha roll.
The alpha cinnamon roll. Yeah. My guys are all cinnamon rolls, but grumpy. I do like grumpy, cocky guys, but then they're actually cinnamon rolls. So
yes.
Awesome. Well, we have actually had 2 questions pop up, so I'm going to put one up here. She has to know. She has to. So you have to answer. There's no if the men on your covers are real people or AI.
Mine are either real people or they're illustrated.
Okay.
And mine are always real, which is great to know, right? Because there's some pretty good looking guys on these covers.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Makes you think, oh, there really are those kind of men in this world, and they're not just AI.
I don't want to think
romance cover models.
Yeah, so you guys don't know this, and probably most of our viewers, because I think most everybody here is new, and I love this tonight. My husband at one point, so he was in the military, and we had a big party once, and I convinced him. We were talking about Fabio for like ever on the show. And so I made him wear a Fabio mask with like long hair and join us for a Christmas party. And he was like the scariest Fabio ever, but he did it with class and he was awesome at it. So I just gave him props for that forever and ever.
That's awesome.
But that's the only book cover model that's ever showed up on our show was my husband dressed as Fabio.
I was going to say Fabio.
Yeah.
I put that on the show.
Yeah.
He's pretty old now, though, I guess.
And then Lisa also wants to know, do you ever use real life experience as the basis for any of your stories? I love that question.
This one, actually, the one I just read from. So my husband and I were on our way to a book signing event in Arizona, and we're out on I-10. And like once you get like far west side of New Mexico and into Arizona, you can hit some wide open stretches out there. And this one car, he just kept like coming up next to us, and then he'd speed off. And it was like, you know how sometimes male drivers, and like I'm going to stereotype here for a minute, but they get that bravado and they're like, there's like a little bit of a pissing match going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, did the guy really do anything? But my husband looks over at me and he goes, I have the cruise control set. He's like, we're not the only car this guy's doing this to. Watch him. And so we're watching him and we're cracking up because like literally he does not want another car near him. Every time another car got close, he would just like speed up and then whip in between cars. But you reach a point where you're getting close to like Tempe or Phoenix, wherever we were, and there's traffic building up. So you only have like this super short span where you can be the only car. You're going to have to drive next to somebody. And we're like, what is this guy's deal? And I literally thought, wow, I'm glad I'm not alone though, because it's funny since I have somebody else in the car with me. But if I was traveling alone and this guy was doing this, I might feel like really worried about it. And I hate that because I don't like to be worried about stuff like that. And then my brain just started spinning. And I'm like, what if you were? What if she was? And he didn't mean anything by it? What if there's really a reason? Because that's what we kept saying, like, what is his deal? Why would he act like that? And I thought, and then what if they like just raged on each other and ended up pulling over on the side of the road and just having it out? And that was their meet cute. So I carried that around in my head for a little while. And that was me. I was like, no, because road rage is actual violence. Like, how do you redeem that?
Yeah.
No, you're just two psychopaths. But I kept carrying it around for a little while longer. And then I'm like, but what if he really didn't mean it? What if she just perceived that that's what was going on? Because she's been doing this internal monologue during this 7-hour drive. And she's probably not paying the best of attention to everything going on around her. So yeah, technically that what I just read was loosely based on a real life experience.
So I kind of have a follow-up question to that. And it's just slightly different, but maybe the same. So if you're like, it's actually the same, Dawn, just say that and be like, whatever. But did you ever write a character after somebody you know or saw? I like to people watch. I'm just saying, sometimes at the gym, I'm like, yeah, you're my.
So I have
villain.
Yeah.
I have a character. I wouldn't say that there's anybody that I've modeled into a character per se, but I have a second clean pen, and it's E.B. Silva. And I had in one of my books, My Starry Valentine, at the end of the book, there's this interlude that happens with a single mom and her son hiking in Great Basin National Park. And they meet a woman who has been hired by the park, and she's a painter. And she's actually painting the glacier at the very top of, I'm going to forget the name of the mountain, but it just happens to be the tallest peak in Nevada. So, I mean, Wheeler, I don't know. Anyhow, so we had hiked up that, my son and I, and had that exchange with an actual artist who was up there with an easel and everything. So that's the closest I've gotten to probably, I mean, it was pretty similar dialogue and stuff. But when it comes to characters, I might like loosely base it on some traits from somebody, but I really go off in my own direction with it.
And I'm going to add a follow-up to that follow-up, but do you have any of your own personalities or your own experiences? Have you ever written them into your heroines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some personality traits, probably. I think it's weird though, because when you're a romance author, you encounter so many people who really think that like almost everything you write is autobiographical, and you have to be like, going, no, that's not really my life. It's fiction. So yeah.
Like, I don't really carry a side gun and fight bad guys. Like, I'm not really a superhero in disguise.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then I've also had people that like, I keep my books away from my family and most of my friends. But I've had some people that are like, oh gosh, I would feel very uncomfortable reading it. Like it's going to be about my husband and my personal life. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way. They kind of believe that you can't write anything that you haven't lived.
I know, right? You kind of want to go, I'm a writer, right? Like you understand that? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be here if I went through half of what my characters have been through.
Oh gosh. Like I would not have reacted the same way as my main character did in the scene. Yeah, no. All right. So we are actually to a point where we need to hear from Ingrid. So Ingrid, I'm going to put you up there. I'm going to mute me and Indy, and you are go.
Scary. All right. So I'm going to be reading from Curves for the Mountain Man. And I'm sorry, this is my author copy, so that's why there's the gray banner across the front. So to get you caught up with where we're at in the story, in the first chapter, our heroine Ginger was awakened in the middle of the night with a hand over her mouth, drug out of her house, kidnapped, thrown in the back of a vehicle, and driven for we don't know how long. And so she has had this opportunity now to run away from the kidnapper because the kidnapper has taken her into the remote woods. And what gave her the strength to run was she heard a male scream in the distance, which takes us to the second chapter about Roscoe, who's an ex-military Army Ranger. He has tremendous lone survivor guilt. He's lived for 5 years in the wilderness, and he's contemplating ending his own life. He screams out in anguish at one point, which gets Ginger to run. He doesn't realize this. When she runs, she screams, and he hears that. And the sound of the woman screaming, of Ginger's scream, basically takes him from deep depression to back into rescue mode. And so we're picking up now. She's gone into the river. He knows she's going to go over a waterfall. And we're picking up where he's running to get to the bottom of the waterfall to try to save her before she goes over the next, much more dangerous falls. I raced the river towards the falls, the golden-haired woman's final destination, relying on agility I've honed through years of free running and forced parkour. Her odds of surviving a drop over Breakneck Falls are 40-60, thanks to current water levels. She may get lucky. Either way, I'll be there when she bubbles back to the surface. Fighting to catch my breath and surveying the angry water in the pool beneath the chutes, I wait, taut for action. Suddenly, a golden head bobs above the swirl, accompanied by skin as white as the snow falling around me. Seizing a large branch, I skim the surface of the water, giving her something to hold on to. Weak from fighting the river and the intense cold of the water, she struggles against the twisting currents. I'm tempted to follow her into the rapids, but I must maintain my body temperature to warm her up if this rescue proves successful. Her body slams into the branch as she twists and twirls in the torrent, her arms tangling with the lifeline. She flutters like laundry on the line, caught in the ferocity of a tornado as I pull the branch towards me. Don't let go, I scream, inching her closer and closer until I seize slick, icy fingers and a handful of wet clothing, heaving against the current. But her grasp has no strength, and the mossy, slippery rock I balance on denies me grip and stability. Pulling her towards me, I lose my balance, dragged into the swirl of ferocious white. Heart-stopping cold greets me, numbing my limbs and making my lungs strain for air. I fight to keep my mouth above water as she slides back into the river's chaos. Gripping her around her shoulders, I struggle against the current, siphoning us toward the rapids of the pool. Each stroke and kick drags us back further, the maelstrom greedy for two victims. Digging deep, I surge forward with a great burst of energy, kicking us free. Edging out of the current, I navigate towards calmer waters, but the respite remains fleeting. She gasps and chokes as I fight toward the riverbank. Suddenly the water hastens. Is this struggle all in vain? The thought crests in my mind as we slam sickeningly against a large root-encrusted boulder. My legs tangle in roots beneath the water's surface, the current racing so fast that I could end up with broken legs if I'm not careful. Leveraging my legs and summoning brute force, I shove the woman halfway up onto the boulder above us. She feebly grasps at the slippery surface, her strength waning. From the waist down, she remains precariously caught in the torrential water. Resolve slams into me hard. This woman will survive, no matter what it takes. I dig deep, summoning intestinal fortitude. Don't let go, I command between chattering teeth and fast-paced breathing. Her eyes look wide and wild, the direness of the moment etched in them. One wrong move, one misplaced grip, and we'll both be swept to our deaths, because I refuse to live without saving her. Her arms tremble, her grip weak. She's past chattering teeth, her body sinking into hypothermia. Tangling my legs more tightly in the roots, I grunt, shoving her up onto the rocks, where she lies on her belly, quivering and sputtering. I will myself out of the water onto the rock next to her, our faces 2 inches apart. I register with dull horror her glassy, unblinking stare, ivory skin and powder blue lips. But the faint warmth of her breath hits my icy cheek. There's still hope. Adrenaline floods me as I drag myself to my knees, grabbing the woman and hoisting her over my shoulder with a loud grunt. She chokes and struggles, a great gulp of cold water escaping her lungs. Summoning the ranger's relentless drive to survive, I rise to my feet. This woman must live. Fortunately, I know these woods thoroughly. I've scouted the falls countless times, balancing over boulders and between tangled brush. I climbed towards a clandestine cave behind the water. I found it a few years ago, likely the only human, perhaps apart from Native Americans, aware of it. The powerful curtains of the cascade engulf us to the right, the air cool and breezy nearest its edge, as I squint my way into the tall, wide cavern. Our only illumination is the muted sunlight threading through the translucence of the water. I retreat as far back as we can, away from the dampness of the falls, hunching as the ceiling drops towards the inner walls. Piles of white deer bones glow in one corner. A large predator hunkers down here, likely a mountain lion. I prop the woman seated against a boulder, straining to catch my breath. Pushing her forward, I slap her back hard a couple of times to stimulate her lungs. The rough handling brings her forward onto her hands, spluttering and hacking to clear her lungs. Cough it all out, I order. She complies, her whole body trembling until she sits back against the boulder, her head lolling to the side. The ambient temperature of the cave warms me after the river's icy depths. In the shimmering sunlight penetrating the cascades, I note her symmetrical, oval face, generous pale lips, and big innocent eyes, framed by thick, long lashes and well-kept light brown eyebrows. We've got to get you out of your wet clothes. She raises her hands, making the motions, but her fingers don't work. So I unceremoniously strip off her sopping black sweatshirt, matching jogging pants and socks, leaning her back against the boulder in a lacy pale pink camisole and matching panties. Her eyes widen, horror glazing over as I efficiently undress to my boxer briefs, my teeth chattering. Without hesitation, I sit cross-legged, pulling her into my arms to straddle my lap. I don't know any better way to deliver body heat to her while simultaneously shielding her from the cave's stone-cold floor. Her icy skin freezes my warming flesh as I press her curvy frame firmly against mine. My mind races. She's so cold. I could end up hypothermic too. Survival mode kicks in, and I develop a game plan as the howling wind announces the blizzard, blowing in fast and hard. At least it should buy us a reprieve from pursuit by the man with the rifle. Relief washes over me as her teeth begin to chatter again, and she shivers uncontrollably in my arms, great tremors gripping her. I whisper comforting words in her ear to calm her, rocking her in my arms until she relaxes, snuggling tightly against me. My heart leaps into my throat as I nuzzle against her neck, smelling faint traces of a floral scent, lilacs and roses. Now, this is from Ginger's point of view. I awaken with a start, disoriented and frantic, my head bobbing around before my eyes meet my rescuers, and I remember everything. Panic seizes my chest as I breathe hard, my hands gripping his shoulders and back. They must have drifted there as I slept. In silent shock, I register the thick, lumpy scars beneath my palms and fingers. He stiffens, and I whisper, "What happened?" "Work-related injury," he growls. "Your teeth aren't chattering anymore. Are you warm enough for me to get us squared away for the night?" The cave has darkened, sunlight growing thinner as it weaves through the cascades. The night we have to stay here? I tense in his arms, anger, sorrow, guilt, shame, panic, pain, helplessness, hopelessness, everything I've felt washing over me in punishing waves. My breathing hastens like I'm hyperventilating. Clinging to his neck, I gasp, "Please don't leave me." My heart is a hummingbird quivering in my chest. "Have to," he says sternly. "We need a fire and dry clothes. This has to be a nightmare. I have to wake up. Please help me wake up." "Hey," he croons, his voice softening as his eyes regard me more attentively. "Talk me through what's going on." "I don't know," I pant, letting out an involuntary whimper, tears pouring down my face as I strain to answer. My heart won't stop pounding. I feel like it's going to explode. I sob against his soft, furry blonde chest. His hands go from impersonally palming me to stroking my back and shoulders comfortingly. His voice croons as he speaks in low tones. "You're safe with me. I won't let anything happen to you," he whispers. "Tell me your name." "Ginger." "I'm Roscoe." "Roscoe." My voice trembles, his name a lifeline. "How old are you?" he asks, regarding me somberly. 23. And you?" 35. Older, stronger, wilderness ready, he's the answer to my desperate prayers. His hands roam into my hair, stroking my locks and massaging my scalp down to my neck as he rests his forehead on mine. "Breathe with me," he coaches in reassuring tones, demonstrating a long inhale and exhale, his mouth inches from mine. "Breathe, Ginger." I nod slightly, my whole body trembling as I try to follow suit. But my diaphragm won't cooperate. Fear possesses my body down to the individual cells, driving panic. "Why is this happening to me?" "Shh," he encourages. "Don't worry about any of that. There's no cave, there's no forest, there's no you or me. There's just the breath. Breathe with me." I struggle to match his inhales and exhales, my mind racing and spinning as the events of the day rage inside. So many images of horror, so many moments of distilled anguish. My heart skitters rebelliously, sprinting mercilessly behind my ribs. "Breathe, Ginger," he commands more firmly, massaging my neck and shoulders. His touch grows more insistent as it pushes panic to the edges of my body where it floats away. I focus on my respiration and the feel of his fingers dancing over my naked flesh and digging into my straining muscles. His hands move up, clasping the back of my neck as his fingers tackle the throbbing, aching muscles that join my skull to my spine. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He counts to 10, his eyes closing and encouraging me to do the same. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. He talks me through it methodically and calmly, as though he's done this 1,000 times. My hands gravitate towards his beard. I don't know why, but there's something soothing about the tactile experience of running my fingers through this surprisingly silky, damp facial hair. He swallows hard, whispering gentle words of comfort as his fingertips graze up and down my arms, trailing the goosebumps lining my flesh and centering my body again. My muscles release, the flight and fight dissipating as he cradles me firmly in his robust arms. "Better?" he asks quietly. "How did you know to do that?" I ask, warmth flooding my core as I stare into his impossibly blue eyes. "PTSD," he says quietly. "It's what would help me, I think." "You don't know?" My eyes round. He shrugs. "I'm a bit of a loner." I'm going to stop there.
Awesome.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. You've had a lot of comments like, "Oh my gosh," like heart racing just listening to it. Great imagery. Love it. My gosh. So How did you decide to write like this scene? Like what was going on when you were thinking about this scene?
Sorry, I'm going off camera for a second because my slipper fell off. I'm like, I've got to have my slipper on my foot when I talk, priorities. Well, as I do so many times, I came up with this cutesy little plot and I was excited about it. And she had like a little dog that ran off and somehow got stuck on a cliff and she was going to follow the little dog. And then this ex-military guy was going to find her. And it's a great storyline. And it's like, I think that a lot of writers would do it very well. But as I was writing it, and I wrote the whole beginning, and I'm a pantser, unfortunately, though I try not to be. But I wrote it, and in my mind, I just kept seeing Roscoe sitting against a tree with a gun in his hand. And I'm like, okay, this is not, I mean, and it's like when you get the characters going, and I know this is the part that gets woo-woo and crazy, but I really feel like my characters are alive. And it's like, you cannot, I mean, they get mad at me. It's like, do this right.
Mm-hmm.
Do it right. And so I just kept seeing him in this state, in this situation. And so then it's like, well, now if I have him this low, emotionally speaking, I can't have her cutesy with the dog anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do something a bit different. And so this whole scenario was something I'd thought about before. And when I finally got, because each book has a bit of a theme, and the theme of this one really is that sense of like love saving people. And the question by the end of it is like, he physically saves her over and over and over again, but really she saves him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that fun tension there. So that's kind of how it all started to come about.
I love that. We are running out of time, but I do have one question that we love to ask our featured authors, and we'll go. Indy, we'll go with you first. If your life/love life were a trope, what would it be?
I can say this. My husband might, well, he's never going to watch this or hear it anyway. So one night stand, only one time, and then you're going to be done. And it was 37 years ago now. So
yeah, one night stander. Okay, good. Love it. Yeah. What about you, Ingrid?
Oh my gosh, this is quite the question.
I know. That's why we ask it.
Look, I just outed myself. I don't think you could go much worse.
I'm like, maybe a little enemies to lovers in the beginning. My husband and I, there wasn't like a ton of angst, but he thought I was late on the first date, even though I wasn't. He tried to meet me an hour earlier than we had originally agreed on. And I'm like, I'm showing up at the right time. I'm showing up at the time we talked about for weeks. And so when I showed up, he took a look at me and it was this look of like, ugh, yuck. and he actually later told me, he's like, no, I really, really liked you. I'm like, well, the look I had to go through that whole first date thinking that, it's weird how you meet somebody, you talk on the phone, everything's good. And then it's horrible in person. Like, I'm just not the right guy for him. I mean, the right girl for him. And I went through that whole date like that, only for him to call me later. And it's like, which we're happy together. 12 years, we're happy.
But you use it against him, don't you?
All the time.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah.
And he still believes I was late. And it's like,
you're like, early is not late. On time is not late.
On time. Yeah. I show up when I'm ready.
Yeah. Was he prior military? Is that how you?
He actually was not. Ironically enough, my ex-husband, who was a sailor, would have been late.
Yeah. Really? Because I was going to say, in the military, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're really late and in trouble. So.
Well, see, my dad was a Marine. And so it was like 2 hours early. 2 hours early everywhere through my whole childhood.
Yeah. So. I was in the military myself. And I'm just now, I think I've been out of the military for like 20 years now. But I'm just now getting to where, like, I'm okay with being on time and not early to everything. But, well, Our time is up, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We really had a great time, or Dylan's not here. The imaginary Dylan down there. She had also had a great time with you. No. But let us know before we go, let our viewers know where you are the most. Are you on like Instagram, Facebook? Where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram quite a bit as Indie Sparks author. I do have a Facebook readers group. It is Fast Burns and Happy Turns. That's sort of my tagline for my brand. So please feel free to hop in and join that. I'm also about to release a brand new free reader magnet for my newsletter. So if you go to my website, indiesparks.net, not .com, someone beat me to that. So indiesparks.net, you'll get a pop-up to join the newsletter. And there's a free full-length novella coming pretty soon.
Awesome. What about you, Ingrid?
Excellent. So my website is engrideaves.com. And you can sign up for my newsletter there. And I actually am also in the process of putting up a new reader magnet shortly. So come hop on board and I'll make sure you get that. I also have all my bonus scenes there. So when you start reading my books, you get the steamy bonus scenes. So, and then I'm also on Facebook as Engrid Eaves, Instagram, and TikTok. And on Facebook, I have a reader group that I share with Lizzie Sparks that's called Book Boyfriends Do It Better. And I'd love to see you there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. And we will be here again the second Thursday. I always have to think about this. The second Thursday of next month. And Dylan, I believe, will be here with me then. So thank you, viewers. Stop by again. And thank you, ladies, for joining us again. And we will see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.